I guess we will start with catching up with the $500 million man himself, Nile Niami. This video is from about a month ago. This was, I believe, when the house was about to go into receivership. We watched in our previous video, he wanted to and did build a mansion that I believe he spent about $300 million building. About $180 million or so, I want to say. These are estimates based on things I've seen about it. He used of his own money because he flipped houses previously that he was able to sell. He put all his money into building this giant house that he wanted to sell for $500 million. He took about $100 million, it was between like 80 and 100 million, out in loans from various banks. Not a good idea. And built this house. Overall cost around $300 million. Wanted to flip it and sell it for $500 million, which would make it the most expensive house in the United States. Wasn't able to do so. So the house was about to go into receivership, which is sort of like a foreclosure from what I understand. Basically, he wasn't making his mortgage payments. He wasn't making his payments to the banks. So they were going to seize the asset, the house, put it up for sale for a lower asking price to try and recoup money for the investors. However, Nile, trying to thwart this attempt because he wants to turn it into an event venue that he thinks is going to change the world or something because he's delusional, he decided to block the receivership claim by filing bankruptcy. So he was able to file bankruptcy. I don't think it was a personal bankruptcy. I guess I'm assuming it's through whatever company he's building the house through. I assume he made a company, so he was limited in his liability. So he didn't have to file personal bankruptcy. Don't know for sure though. Anyway, so he still has the house, and now he has bankruptcy protection for some period of time, and the banks are going to have to jump through hoops in order to get the house to sell it, and he is being obstinate. So let's see what he has to say about it about a month ago, shall we?
So as promised in the last video, if you haven't seen it, it's the video of the absolutely amazing mini The One of Nile's. And today we're here with Nile, and he's going to explain to us some of the things that have been going on with The One, the biggest house in the urban world. And Nile, welcome back. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like harsh or abrupt or anything, but there's been some rumors out there that the house has gone into foreclosure. The price is now 350 million instead of 500 million. What's going on? Tell us all about it.
I believe the loans that he had taken out, the interest itself had gone up to a total of around 120 million, something like that. Again, these are all rough estimates. I don't remember all the exact numbers. It's more money than you or I or any of us collectively in chat will ever see in our lives, so I don't feel bad for him even at all, especially considering how out of touch and delusional he is in these interviews. Yeah, he's just screwed, basically. There's no way he's making his money back on this house. He's effed. He's effed in the A.
So, you gotta understand the whole story of, it's not just a house, and it's not just a sale. And this is what some of the problems that I got into. I bought this house, this land in 2012, and I started developing it. And during that time, I was a very different person. I was married, and like everything in my life has changed.
So he's been married multiple times, because remember, in the original video we watched last week, which I highly recommend, if you're watching this but haven't seen that video, please go check out that video. It's on my YouTube channel or my Twitch page if it's within 3 months of the original stream. It's really, really interesting, and this guy is crazy delusional. You gotta see this house. It is the ugliest house I've ever seen. It's so uncomfortable and sterile and cold, and there's cameras at the urinals so you can watch dudes pee. It's super weird.
Changed completely.
Oh, also, speaking of which, he just said he was married in 2012 when he bought the land. He was also married in 2020 because, remember, in the first video he said he met a woman, got engaged, married her, and was divorced all within the span of 8 months in 2020. I guess lockdowns were different for all of us. But I get the feeling he's a bit of an impulsive person.
180% from losing all the money I had to pushing through and coming up with the craziest world-changing idea, like doing pay-per-view platform events at this house. And during the 12 years that I was building this house, I built a lot of other houses, and I never had any investors on this project. I always went from one bank to the next bank to the next bank, trying to get this thing made. And I also, from every single house that I built.
By the way, if you have to go to multiple banks in order to finance building your house, you probably don't have enough money to build a house. Stop doing that.
All the money from that previous house went to the one. So this is not just about like 12 years in one house. This is about 12 years of my life, and every single dollar that I've made in that 12-year period went to the one.
Okay, so there's a concept in investment that's like a high school level investment advice. You could learn this at like 16. If you're going to invest, there's this beautiful thing called diversification. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, because if that basket is a terrible house that no one wants, then you're just screwed. However, if he instead had taken that $300 million and built a bunch of smaller houses, even if some of them weren't selling, some of them probably would, and he'd be better off. You don't want to put everything you have in one thing, because if that thing fails, then you're screwed, right? This is why mutual funds are generally a pretty good thing if you're trying to like work towards retirement and you want to do investments, because a mutual fund is you and a bunch of other people collectively buying fractional shares basically in a big pool of a bunch of different companies. It's a lot safer than buying individual stocks. Although if you are going to buy individual stocks, which I don't necessarily recommend, it's a gamble, if you do that, then you want to make sure you diversify that as well, so if one stock goes down, you're not going to lose everything. It might even out with the other stuff.
When I started this, I was a totally different person as I am now, and I didn't think about the world. I didn't really care, to be honest. I cared about myself. And but living through all this, I completely changed.
Meek says, speaking of diversification, the ETF market did well today. Now you're speaking above my head. I don't know enough about investing to know what the fuck that means.
As a person, and
I know more, though, than to know that you shouldn't spend $300 million on one investment when that's all the money you have.
And then COVID hit, but the weird thing was, previous to COVID, all of my houses, like a year or 2 years before COVID, every one of my houses would sell. Every one of my houses would sell before we had the power on. Every one of my houses would sell. Everyone. Everyone. Continually. Even though people would copy everything I did, everything would sell. And then all of a sudden, none of my houses would sell. Nothing. And that's what got me into this big problem, because, you know, when you're running $1 million a month mortgage payments and your houses aren't selling.
He was running... His mortgage was $1 million a month. Think about that. Imagine you have a mortgage, and every month you need $1 million to pay it. Do you know how much my mortgage payment is? I have no problem telling people this. Do you know how much my mortgage payment is, guys? Guess. People in chat, guess how much my mortgage payment is on the house that I bought. Chat, give me a number. Give me a number, throw it out there. Baja, you know how much my mortgage payment is. You can't guess. Yeah, it's around $550. It's a 1,300 square foot house. It's got an upstairs. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. $550 a month is my mortgage payment. And honestly, it's a decent sized house for like me and Baja if we were living there. We're not right now. I'm renting it out to my friend Alex because I'm living with Baja. But like I own that, I'm paying a mortgage on that house and he's renting it out. I can't imagine a mortgage payment where you have to every month pay more money than I have ever made in my entire life. It's disgusting.
You got a problem.
So what went wrong?
It's cheaper than your rent? Yeah, mortgages are usually cheaper than the rent, depending on the size of the house. Rent is a fucking scam, which is why, like, Alex, who I'm renting my house to, I'm only charging him break even plus a little for potential repairs. I'm not going to say exactly how much because that's not, you know, it's his rent payment. I don't think it's fair for me to say that out loud. But, like, I'm not making a profit on Alex's rent payment at all. Basically, it's just so someone is in that house and making sure it's not falling apart. I think people rent-seeking behavior is fucking gross.
What do you think caused this to happen?
Well, it's two things. One of them is it took forever to get the house built. And every day that you take to build a house is money.
So stop, let's back up. So I know you said it took about 10 years to complete the project.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the landlord class. Not quite, because the house I'm living in with Baja, we rent. And our rent here is more expensive than the rent I'm charging Alex. So I'm losing money overall in terms of, like, rent as a... or at least breaking even. So, yeah.
Had you predicted that it would be much quicker than that, or was that already, like, preset?
I didn't know, honestly, because, like, one of the reasons that it took so long is I had to stop. I had to stop because I had to go from bank to another bank, to another bank, and we stopped in between because we had a bank loan, we spent it, and we had to wait to refinance it with another bank. Or I would finish another house, and I would sell that house, and then we'd have $10 million, we'd fund it into the one.
So let's talk about right now.
Yeah.
Joey is strong, thanks for 200 bits.
What's the situation with the one?
Well, I gotta give a kind of...
I'm a bad landlord in the sense that I'm not sucking the blood out of my tenant in order to give them the privilege of living in a suitable accommodation. Yes, I'm a terrible landlord. Landlady.
Quick backstory. So the backstory is one of the things that
yeah, his business model is incredibly stupid. He's making little sales, taking the profits, and funneling it all into one project. It's awful. I don't know how he thought that would work. I don't know how banks agreed to give him money. Banks looked at that business proposal and were like, this looks good. Let's give this guy $80 million.
that came to me through other people or through a higher power was a real serious way to help change the world. And when I gave them my mission statement in your interview, like, that was serious. I mean, that was something I really want to do. And by having a house that has those kind of grounds post-COVID, you have one of the only spaces in the world that can do pay-per-view platform events. And
no, you're not. Why is he still obsessed with this idea of keeping the property and turning it into an event venue? You cannot have an event venue in a residential neighborhood in Bel Air. Your neighbors, and I looked this up afterward, by the way, he's already having issues with his neighbors. His neighbors in Bel Air, who are also rich assholes, they're also rich assholes. They don't like him. They already don't like the big house. They think it's ugly. They think it takes up too much space. They think it's dog shit, basically. And they don't like all the noise. His neighbors are not going to be okay with an event venue being next to their house. You can fuck over poor people all you want, and people don't generally care. I mean, the poor people care, but, you know, people in power don't care. But you start fucking with other millionaires and billionaires in Bel Air, you bet your ass they're coming for you. They're not going to let you build an event venue or host an event venue in your residential home. It's the height of delusional. Hydrate.
pay-per-view platform events at that house, like fights with Manny Pacquiao, fights with Floyd Mayweather, fights with big boxing names.
Tucker White with 40 bits says, so he keeps his house in bankruptcy while I'm stuck with my student loan debt if I did the same thing. Yep, basically. everything's fucked. I don't know if you've noticed.
Paying money down through the pay-per-view platform that we wanted to do and combining it with the show and changing everybody's life by giving people 3-page contracts and putting the trust in them to account was all honest. So one of the reasons I got in this problem is because I fought forever. I didn't want to sell the house because I knew, and I still know today, that there is a higher purpose for that house.
Let me ask you a question. When you started out and you had this vision and you started to build the house, was it your intention to sell it, or was it your intention to do other things with it at that time?
Oh, absolutely, 100% it was to sell it. That's all I didn't think about anything else other than selling the house.
Profit, you wanted profit.
That's it,
okay.
That's it.
And
Boy, it's almost like the profit motive doesn't necessarily provide the best results. It's almost like when your only intent when doing something is to make money, you're gonna make terrible decisions that aren't based on practicality or even desirability, but mostly upon how much money can I squeeze out of this stone? This guy's the dumbest rich guy I've ever seen.
what point did that change?
After COVID, I met someone that gave me the idea, and one of the problems is that throughout this period, as we were finishing the house, I must have been through 7 or 8 different groups that were going to resolve everything for me. And when I say resolve everything, they were going to give me enough money to buy out the partners happily, where they would be extremely excited about the deal. They were going to pay off the banks, and we were going to pay off.
That's funny too, because he just said he didn't have investors, he only went to banks, but now he's saying there were partners. Is he trying to get around it by saying, I didn't have investors, I had partners who gave me money to invest? Those sound like the same thing. Tucker White says, how bad must you be to make me empathize with fucking... I don't know what that word means. I don't want to say words that I don't know what they mean.
Of everybody, and then that house is going to be used for pay-per-view platform events, for creating a token, for cyber currency, to be used for a show. It was.
Oh, not in my backyarders. Gotcha.
And it still is. That still is my goal.
But where are we today? I mean, that is what everybody really wants to know.
I'll tell you where we are today.
Where are we today?
This is going to go one of 2 ways. Either I was a fool.
Ding, 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 ding. It's that one, genius.
And I spent 11 years of my life to build this, originally only thinking about myself, and then thinking about how this house can be the beacon of hope for the world to change.
What does that even mean? It's a big rich guy house. It just makes... The only way this will be a beacon to the world is if it's the final straw that makes the working class go, holy shit, we live in a 2-tiered system or a multi-tiered system where we are treated like dog shit, where people like this are given every opportunity to not only succeed, but fail upwards and have no consequences for their disgusting, selfish failures. And then they go and they literally destroy his house, eat the rich, and reorganize society. That is the only scenario in which he provides a benefit to the world via this ungodly, disgusting mega mansion. Sidosaurus says, my computer just threw a massive temper tantrum, but it's probably still more mature than this gigantic baby.
And
I don't think that's fair. I don't think I've ever seen a baby take a $500 million shit like this guy.
And it's going to go one of 2 ways. Right now, as we stand here today, the house has been put in with a receiver from Hankey Capital because Hankey hasn't been paid his mortgage payments, and he's going to sell the house, and hopefully we sell the house for top dollar, and everybody makes their money and their profit.
Again, he declared bankruptcy soon after this to try and keep it from getting sold in the receivership.
That is not my goal, and it still is not my goal, because my goal is to do these pay-per-view platform events. So I have someone who has become a very, very good friend of mine, and I trust this guy with my life. And
he's being catfished by an investor. Spoilers.
The strange thing is, I've never met him before.
Felix Night Owl says, This guy reminds me of that one rich guy that used to be a kickboxer and is now a huge asshole pimp and slips into a British accent randomly. Forgot his name. This guy is the dumb version of him. Tate. Andrew Tate. What does that mean, sold in receivership? Basically, he missed enough of his mortgage payments that it went into, like, basically foreclosure, and the person who loaned him money takes the house and then sells it to recover their the loan balance.
Other than on FaceTime calls. And he is a terrific person. But one of the issues is he's promised me over and over and over and over and over and over and over that he is wiring the money. And that's why I've gotten into this rut, because he promised me for 3 months now. When we went on your last show, I was promised, as you know, this monetization fund that I called the God Fund was going to come in, and it was going to monetize, and it was going to take care of everything, including these pay-per-view events and going out and helping everybody that I possibly could that deserves it in the world. But it never happened, and it never happened, and it never happened.
They're already banned MH Dark Beast. That doesn't stop them from direct messaging people. Hydrate. Bittergrin with 100 bits. You gotta block them if they message you. Bittergrin says with 100 bits, so I got that house is huge for, or I get that house is huge for a house, but it's still like 1/10 of the square footage of the average arena. Why would boxing promoters want to do anything in this shitty house? They wouldn't. It's completely delusional. He's just trying to come up with any justification for what he could do with his house to make money. Tucker White says this is entering Nigerian prince territory. Yeah, he's clearly falling for absolute scammers, too. It's hilarious.
And it never happened. It never happened.
But you still think it will?
I believe in my heart it will. And I received word from him yesterday that the money is being sent next week. So
would it be fair to say anybody watching this right now might say you're being foolish by believing this and not moving on to another remedy?
Well, I think because I have been down the path with so many different groups, I don't think at this stage in life there is another remedy other than if somebody watching your show comes in and says, hey, we're going to give you $200 million and help solve this, and we're going to come.
I want to interview this guy so bad, because this interviewer is so nice to him, and he's another rich guy that just kind of like gives softball questions and like wants to laud him for wasting hundreds of millions of dollars on that giant piece of shit. Someone needs to talk to this guy and be like, do you know how out of touch you are? Do you understand that you are a crazy person with more money than sense and you need to be stopped? I don't think he would talk to me, unfortunately, but maybe I'll try and find some contact info and see if we can see if we can set something up.
Come in as your partner. I don't know any other remedy. I can tell you, you know, it was a big risk going on a YouTube channel, but it worked out unbelievably. And I have received DMs from rabbis. I have received DMs from pastors of churches that want to meet with me.
You and Jake interview him? No. I would not want Jake on that call. Jake is my friend, but I would not want his temperament anywhere near that call.
I received DMs from hundreds of people that need help. And
hats off. Okay, I gotta wear some silly thing. What about this denim hat? Denim hat? How's that?
And hundreds of people want to know what's the update.
Tell him I'm an investor. See, in the business, that's what we like to call fraud. I'd rather not commit fraud.
So I will never, ever stop until the last day. If it sells, I hope I get my money back because it was 11 years of my life.
Do Jake and I still talk? Yeah, all the time. We do the D&D thing every week. We're still friends. We just haven't worked together in quite a while.
Life and all of my other houses. But I hope that there is a resolve, a positive resolve, that is going to include buying out the partners, paying the banks, and doing what I think was meant for this house in the first place, which is having it be the beacon of hope and having it really help the world. And that...
Do you think he's so delusional he actually thinks people view, like, mega mansions as beacons of hope and not disgusting shrines to, like, our imbalanced and broken economic system? Or is he just saying that, like, for marketing purposes? I really can't tell.
That has been my mission statement since the last interview I had with you, and it is still my mission statement. And I have never given up, and I will never give up until the very, very end. But
which is totally admirable. My hat is off to you for that. But again, looking at the worst case scenario, and let's say the house does sell,
yes.
What type of price do you think it will realistically bring?
I have no idea.
In today's market?
I have no idea. Listen, well, you say in today's market. Today's market's unbelievable. This is the best market we've had ever. I've never seen stuff selling like it is now, so I don't know. I don't know because there is a receiver.
That's the weird thing. Right now, the housing market is crazy. My house has gone up in value like, let me think. My house went up in value like $19,000 in the last year, and I don't know what market factors are happening that's causing that. But things are really inflated right now, and I don't know why. It's at the point where I've only been paying my mortgage for 5 years, but, like, the prices are so inflated that if I actually sold my house for the price that the estimates are at, I would make a profit. And I've only been paying my mortgage for, like, 3 years. 3 or 4, maybe 5. I don't know the exact amount of time. It's very bizarre. I don't want to do that because I want to continue building equity in it, but I don't know. Not to mention, I'm afraid if I sell the house now, I'll never get a chance to buy a house again because, you know, millennial. Logarth says, Pawn Stars guy, best I can offer you is $50 million for the land, but I know a guy that might be able to salvage the materials for more.
Involved in this.
Do you think it could be the 500 million?
I don't know. I think that if it's 200 million or if it's 500 million, I think it would be a horrible travesty. Because this house could change hundreds of thousands of people's lives. This house could make me very rich because, listen, I'm not one to say I'm going to sell everything and go out and give everything I have away. I've worked my butt off for this, and I...
Did you? Because it sounds like you just scammed a bunch of banks into giving you money irresponsibly, spent it on a big, ugly house, and then lost all the investors' money? So it doesn't seem like you've really done anything other than be a bumbler who fucked everyone over for the last 12 years, including yourself.
I deserve this. I'm an unbelievable...
What do you deserve? You deserve to fucking fail. You failed. You made terrible business decisions. You're the one who's a capitalist. Aren't you supposed to think that the market determines who gets what? No one deserves anything. What are you talking about under the system that you believe in? No one deserves anything. You are a failure. You suck at your job. You're done.
Unbelievable human being, and I deserve to have this house.
He is an unbelievable human being. He just said those words. I want to vomit into this fucking denim hat. Hawthorne723 says, this guy is Peter if he had money. I got this hat for Christmas. It actually fits pretty well. Tucker White says, unless this house comes stocked with blackjack and hookers, it's not worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Hydrate. Okay.
And do what I want with it. I deserve it. And I'm never going to give up on that. But I've learned something along the way that has kept me focused, and that is maktub, which means it's already written. Everything's already written. You can do nothing about whatever is going to happen, and you just have to go with it and do your best, and that's what I have come up with. That
your best is not good enough. You are incompetent at your job, sir. Overthought with 45-bit says, me to this guy.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
We need more Gene Wilder in this stream.
Mentality now, and that's what I live by, that it is already written by the hand, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And I have unbelievable, earth-shattering announcements to make. I really do. I really do. And I'm going to tell you just one to give you an idea on the show right now. And then we'll go on to future shows where I will talk about it after we know what happened with this. But
so just to interrupt you, so these, or this specific idea that you're going to talk about now is going to happen regardless of whether the one sells or doesn't sell?
I hope. My entire being is the one. And I don't mean the one house. I mean the one brand, the one
Your shitty house is not a brand.
franchise. Everything I'm working on is the one. And no matter what happens, I have incredible, earth-shattering, life-changing news to give people.
Again, like I said, he's doing that announcement in 2 hours and 20 minutes. We'll try and catch at least the beginning of it and see what snake oil he has to sell in that.
So tell us this one thing
Okay,
that you
so
want to
here's
tell us.
Here's one. Okay, I wanted to make the announcement when I was able to say everything's solved and this is what we're going to be doing. I'm not able to do that. So, as I said, Maktub, everything's already written.
Is it best not to say anything now? And
No,
just
no,
hold
this
it
is just
back?
this is just one small thing to tell you.
Okay.
We have, with some partners, we are starting our own bank.
This is the guy I trust to handle my money. You know, it's super easy to start a bank. You know how it is. You just put up a sign that says bank. You put a dollar sign on it, and people give you money, and you hold it, and then if they want it, you give it back. It's how hard could that be? It's a bank.
Our own bank that we can take in depositors, but it's a very special bank, and it is.
Is it gonna be the one coin? Oh god, I bet his announcement later is gonna have something to do with cryptocurrency or NFTs.
Is called the One International Bank, and when you deposit into our bank, you get the first ever. I want to polish it up because
This is ridiculous, what he's about to show. Logarth with 150 bits says, fun fact, a local family of developers did something like this. They would buy property, then a family member in the banking system would overappraise for the loan, so they would get hundreds of millions for a 10 million hotel project. They did get busted and like 8 people went to jail for bank fraud. A project they were doing was in my hometown, and when they got busted and this half-built hotel rotted for like 10 years before someone salvaged the property and built a hotel. Why are people like this? MH Darkbeast says, I hope when people take the house to eat the rich, they poop on the shitty white carpeted floors and smear it on the warm walls. I don't even think that's a good idea. Turn it into a museum and just show people how disgusting our system allowed income inequality to get.
it's really cool. It was designed by me, and every depositor will get this, a 24 karat gold Visa with a real diamond.
Yeah, that'll solve all your problems. Go ahead and give people a solid gold or gold-plated Visa with a diamond in it. I hate these people. I really, 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 really do. Jamie Lynn 46 says, I hate this guy. How many homeless people could he have helped with that money? How many recovering addicts and people of domestic violence could he have helped with that money? He disgusts me. I know. It's terrible. No, the raid is from the person who keeps making accounts. It's not a real raid. I don't know why this person keeps doing it, because honestly, I don't know if they think they're annoying me, but I just find it funny that the spam filter keeps catching them. So whatever. If they want to waste their time, that's fine. This is my job. I'm making money right now. If they want to waste their time for free and make me laugh while I work, more power to them.
Oh, that's amazing, may I? That is absolutely incredible. absolutely incredible. I should probably show it to this camera. I'm not sure if that's...
So that's kind of the level of stuff that I'm trying to do, along with all of the things that help the world. So this is one that, and I have something very, very special attached to this announcement.
Joey is strong. Thanks for 200 bits.
We're not going to.
So let me just ask you some question about this.
Yeah.
The bank is going to be like a regular bank where you deposit money, or is this crypto, or what is it?
This is even stupider when he explains what the bank is. Like, why do they have why do they have a gold-plated card when this is what the bank is? Listen.
It's an investment bank, so it's for CD deposits mainly. It's more of a depository bank rather than an active bank where you have ATMs and things like that.
So this will be FDIC insured, and
Yes.
nobody has to worry about...
Sidosaurus with 50 bits says, I still don't hear anything about how he's supposed to be going to be helping the world. How exactly? I don't know. I still don't know how he thinks he's helping people.
Losing their money, it's a very secure investment.
It's a bank that we're negotiating, purchasing right now that has a Fed wire number, which is super rare. We have the bank. It's a U.S.-based bank. And, but again, this idea is linked to the money coming in.
The card is gorgeous, I have to tell you.
Gorgeous,
I mean,
like,
puts my black card to shame.
yeah, well, I hope, and the other interesting thing about this is all of the cards are going to be numbered. So this is 1 of 1 up here. So I hope that on the show I could give you one of the early numbered cards to show we've made it and this bank's open.
I'd like number 8.
Number 8?
It's my birthday.
Okay. I was going to say 27, but we're not going to talk about that yet. So
8 for me.
8 for you. You got it.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
That sensational looking card, and
Thank you.
I think the concept.
By the way, he said that the bank is an investment bank. Basically, you deposit CDs in the bank. If you don't know what a CD is, you can get this at normal banks too, deposit CDs. CDs are longer-term investments, so normally you go to a bank and if you open a regular savings account, you get very, very low interest yields. You get very low interest rates on your general savings account, and that's because you can pull the money out at any time. So if I put $500 in a savings account, it's going to sit in that account. It'll accrue interest very slowly. Not even worth it, basically. Excuse me. But there are these things called CDs with banks. I know this because my mom was a manager of a bank for years. CDs are longer-term investments, and they vary in terms of their length. But you basically say to the bank, and the bank makes an agreement with you that you say, I'm depositing X amount of money. It's usually higher yield. Hold on. Hydrate. Okay. So you deposit money, it's usually in the thousands. I think they can be lower, but usually the more money you're putting in, the longer length the CD will run for, to my knowledge. And you say, like, I'm putting $10,000 in this CD, and I can't touch this money for a year, or 2 years, or 3 years, but the interest yield will be higher. So the bank will give you a better interest rate with the knowledge that they will hold on to that money and invest it for a longer period of time without the risk that you are going to pull that money out at any time. So it's not like an account. This is what confuses me about the card thing. It's not like a checking account that you can go and pay for things with. So why is there even a debit card associated with the bank if you're only dealing in investments and CDs? You don't pull money out of a CD until it's matured. It's not a checking account, it's an investment. The card basically feels like something they give to you so you can go to parties and be like, have you seen my gold-plated Visa MasterCard? Just makes you look like a douche.
Which is great.
Thank you.
So Nile, thank you.
CD rates are still super low, like 1%. They're higher than general savings accounts, though. And I think the more money you put in, the higher yield you get on your investment, but that's typical, I think, of pretty much all investments like that. If you get a higher amount of money in as the start funds, they'll give you a better deal on the interest.
Is there anything else at all you want to say?
I just want to say to
Darlin Dr. Lambchop says he's offering a credit card. Reminds me of that guy who founded the Fire Festival. Didn't he try to start a credit card thing before that? Yes, Magnesis was a card company. It was a scam. Logarth with 50 bits says, wait till the Fed raises the interest rate this year. CDs will be a smart investment again pretty soon. Yeah, I've heard rumors that they're going to do that.
To everybody
they're trying to quell inflation.
Everybody out there, I can't answer all the DMs. I can't answer everybody, but just I want everyone to know that I am trying. I'm not giving up. I'm doing everything that I can in my power to make sure that MockTube has written this to be a positive ending for me.
Investment banks don't concentrate on CDs. Mostly they do mutual funds and other investment. I know. I'm just saying it and explaining it because he expressly said that they're going to do CDs. That was the example he gave for the bank. Not me. He said it. I'm just extrapolating and explaining what that means to people who might not know.
And I am very sure that this new partner, the money will come in next week. And if it does, you will be the first to know. We will do another interview. And at that time, we'll say and tell everybody that it's solved and how we're going to move forward into the future and what the earth-changing new ideas that are coming next.
Well, we all wish you the very, very best of luck. You've put in a massive amount of work and energy and creativity into everything that
How old is this? A month. This is a month old.
You've built. We're all wishing you well. We thank you for telling everyone. And guys, I hope you enjoy.
That troll person isn't messaging me. They're DMing everyone else, but they're too big of a bitch to actually talk to me. That's typical.
Our talk with Nile. Make sure you follow him. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button. We're in it to win it. Nile's going to win it. We're all going to win it. See ya.
Interesting guy. Yeah, I find Nile, the $500 million man, to be just the absolutely most fascinating person. I don't know why. He's so delusional and he's so emblematic of, like, the rich, out-of-touch idiot. He's a perfect illustration of the amount of money in your bank account, your net worth, is not necessarily indicative of your intelligence, although I guess for him now it is, because I'm pretty sure his net worth is about to be negative. So, anyway, let's move on.